My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content. Hey gang, welcome back. Chances are, if you've been in and around real estate for any length of time, at some point, you had this thought come to your mind: what the heck am I doing in this business? Maybe it's because a contractor has completely screwed up or screwed you out of some money. Maybe it's a nightmare tenant from hell that's just driving you crazy. Maybe it's, interest rates skyrocketing or insurance rates skyrocketing. At some point in all of our careers, we've kind of thought, what the heck is going on? There's got to be a different way. And then a lot of us have thought, well, you know what? Those guys and gals that are digital nomads and they're living the laptop lifestyle and have some, Etsy business online or some e-commerce thing, that sounds a lot better to me. Well, if you've ever thought that, then today's guest is going to set us straight, because Brian Rudderow has experience with that. He worked for 5 years in the e-commerce space, and he decided to pivot and get into real estate full-time. And we're going to find out why. We're going to find out all about our guest, Brian Rudderow, zooming in from Colorado, and why he made that change and what he does now. So Brian, welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Hey, thanks. It's great to be here. Yeah. So to kind of dispel the myth of the e-commerce investing side, it seems really good and it is very attractive, and it's nice to get those daily deposits in your account.
Well, first of all, what were you doing in e-com? What does that even mean? So what did that mean for you? What did you have?
Well, I had several different businesses. The first one I started was selling zip lines, which was my best performing overall. Well, not the most money, but it was the best performing as far as customer service goes and returns and chargebacks. But I sold that site and then pivoted into some other niches. Like I used to sell vaporizers and hoverboards, which both had high chargeback percentages. So maybe it's just me that went down the wrong path into the wrong niches, but it was the chargebacks that eventually led me into.
So what is that even for folks that aren't familiar with e-commerce? What is a chargeback?
Okay, so that's when the seller receives the product and they're not happy with the purchase, and the buyer receives the product. Or sorry, I was thinking in terms of real estate.
Yeah, so you sell something online. Let's say it's a hoverboard. The buyer gets it, and then what happens?
So they're unhappy with the purchase, and then they'll call their credit card company and say, I would like to dispute this transaction because I'm unsatisfied with the purchase, whether they weren't able to return it or.
Go ahead.
Because some people they'll try to return it, and if they don't get the customer service that they need, then they'll call and issue a chargeback. And some people will just call and issue a chargeback right away.
So those people are called rip-off artists because they charge back and keep it, right? Basically.
Yeah, that's a whole nother side of the thing. That's in the chargeback pool, I would say, is those rip-off buyers that just try to issue a chargeback and keep it, and that is a large percentage.
Okay, so this was happening. This is what people that aren't in that business don't understand, is that it looks good on paper, but at the end of the day, there are these issues, the failed payments, chargebacks are huge, because as the seller, as the business owner, you're automatically assumed to be at fault. And the buyer is pretty much automatically assumed to be correct in the eyes of the credit card company, right? So, I mean, they usually take the side of the buyer.
Yeah, that's right. Typically, the bank of the buyer will issue an immediate credit and then launch an investigation. And then the seller, I mean, if you shipped it and you have proof of delivery, you can just submit the tracking number and oftentimes win, but sometimes it goes into a 2-week dispute before it's finally settled. And
it's just such a huge hassle. Like there's so much. Yeah. So you go through that time after time after time. It sours you on the whole online thing. So what was the moment when you decided, hey, screw the online business, I'm going to switch over into real estate?
It was after the holiday season back in, I think it was early 2021, right after Christmas. And I just slugged through the Christmas season, selling hoverboards online. I was ranked number 2 on Google for hoverboards for sale. So I was getting sales like crazy. And my monthly volume was like 25 to 30,000 a month, I think, if I remember. And I hit a wall with the chargebacks because there were so many unhappy purchasers. Like I would get calls from mothers that would say, it was my son's birthday the other day. You shipped the wrong color, because I was dealing with a drop shipper. So that was the biggest
problem. So somebody else was actually delivering this stuff for you, right? You were the marketer for somebody else's hoverboards. Yeah.
Yeah. So if I was shipping them myself, I could have been at least ensured that it was right and maybe made it through. But that was the point where I decided, because my payment processor called me and said, hey, look, we froze $20,000 of your sales and you still have to ship the product and provide tracking, and we might release it in 30 days.
Hey there, if you're a capital raiser, a syndicator, or a fund manager, and you're looking for a steady flow of incoming accredited investor leads, then go ahead, grab a free copy of my new book, How to Get 20 Accredited Investor Meetings Every Month Without Cold Calling, Networking, or Chasing People. You can get that at 20accreditedinvestorsbook.com. Again, that's the number 20accreditedinvestorsbook.com. Wow. Yep. That's the other thing most people don't understand is they can arbitrarily do that, freeze your money, and bequeath it to you if they so deem that you're deserving. No, I'm talking about this because I've had those kind of experiences. Not like that, but doing stuff online for sure. Okay, so you decided to do something else. How did real estate come up on your radar, Brian? And what did you do first?
I actually was on Facebook, of all places, and I saw that guy, I think Tom Kroll from Wholesaling Inc. I saw one of his things where he's like ringing the bell every time he gets a wholesale, and he's like, yeah, we got another one. And I was like, this looks kind of cool. So I started following their page and studying their material. And I was like, well, I could just take my marketing knowledge from e-commerce and pivot into real estate. And that was like my main idea was I won't have to deal with any credit card processing companies. It's just me, the seller, and the title company.
Right. All right. So you jumped in, and what did business look like for you when you first got started?
I ramped up marketing pretty fast, and I was able to get my first wholesale in Colorado Springs in about, I think it was like 4 months. So I got my first wholesale from just doing online marketing on my website.
Very nice. And then fast forward to now, we're 2026. What does your real estate investing business look like? What does it consist of? Tell us about what you're doing now.
Well, the main shift lately is I pivoted towards creative financing. So I just closed a deal in Colorado Springs, and it was a creative financing deal structure for full market value, right at $450. So it was like a 4-bed, 4-bath. So I was very happy with it because I was able to find a local contractor to put down the down payment and take over the mortgage payments with a nice little spread between the mortgage amount and the and his lease to option. So that's been my main pivot, is into creative, and I'm working on another one now, a mobile home in Colorado Springs. So kind of coming at it from all angles. So definitely had to get more creative here over the past year as the market kind of stays frozen or starts to shift to a buyer's market.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would say that's my main.
So are you still doing wholesale deals or just the subject to kind of creative deals?
I am. I'm still wholesaling, and I'm still flipping. I just shifted those to the back burner, and my main strategy now is creative because, the wholesaling, I still do those, but they're just fewer and far between, harder to get the margins. But I am working on a wholesale deal up near Denver right now, so still coming in.
Exciting stuff. So as we're recording this, Brian, we're early days, spring of 2026. What plans for the business do you have over the next year or so?
I would say I'm going to start shifting into commercial and maybe look to diversify some of my flipping profits into self-storage. Maybe even do like I want to develop raw land. I know people say that materials is high and all that's high, but I just like the model of getting a piece of bare land and developing it from scratch, putting in all the utilities, the septic, the electric, running everything. And that's what I think I'm going to focus on. And then keeping that as sort of a long-term play, and then still trying to flip and use my flips to fund my land development deals.
Nice. Well, that's not a bad idea. So now that you're about, if my math's right, you're about 5 years into the real estate business. You did 5 years in the e-commerce world as well. Compare and contrast the two, and what have been kind of your big takeaways from making the switch?
Well, my biggest takeaway is I've had to get a lot better, a lot more personable and better at customer service in the real estate industry. I mean, it's just a higher level.
You can't hide behind a computer in this business, right?
Yeah, it's like you're right there out in the open in the person's living room. With the computer, you can kind of blow off the email and be like, oh, it's another angry lady. Maybe I'll just put it off till later and then hide behind my email and be like, well, I'll try to fix it later.
Mm-hmm. No, you got to fix it now.
Those get you. Yeah, with real estate. But the trade-off is in person, people tend to get less angry with you in person, whereas some lady will call up and ream you over the phone. So in person, you're pretty safe unless, Well,
I mean, how many angry people are you dealing with if you're focusing on right now on flips and wholesale deals? Well, I guess you're negotiating with sellers in the living room. That could be the situation, but
yeah, really don't get too much pushback and all. That was the other main takeaway that I had when I first got into real estate. I was like, man, like these people are going to get mad at me as soon as I come in and try to make this lowball offer. But it's never happened to me in all my years of making these offers. People just say no. They're just like, no, it's too low. The worst I've ever got is somebody that's like, oh, like you're a scammer or you're a lowballer, just like kind of like mildly disgruntled. But the thing is, you didn't take their money. All you did was make them an offer. Whereas with the chargebacks, people feel cheated in e-commerce because they actually gave you a transaction on their credit card.
Right. Yeah, huge difference. Very, very cool. Well, hey, Brian, this has been very interesting. Congratulations on making the switch. And I'm glad things are going well for you and you got a lot less stress in this business versus the other one. If people are watching or listening to this and they want to connect with you, what's the best place? Where can they find you?
You can find me right on LinkedIn. My name is Brian Rudderow. It's Rudderow.
And you're based in where in Colorado?
I'm in Southern Colorado. My main market is Colorado Springs, but I'm all over the Front Range from Walsenburg to Denver.
You're probably the only Brian Rudderow in Colorado if people are looking you up so they won't get you confused with somebody else.
Yeah, safe to say.
Awesome. Hey, Brian, thanks so much for being on the show.
Hey, thank you, Dave. It was fun.
All right, everybody, take care, and we'll see you on the next one. Hey there. I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewsyou.com.